Instacart is playing fair with the tips, so why won't DoorDash? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and Instacart about a month or two ago got into some hot water when people were realizing that their tips were being siphoned to pay for their, salary. They were guaranteed so much money plus tips, but they found out that when customers tipped more money, some of that tip money was taken and put into Instacart's pockets. Now, the backlash was immediate and it was swift, but what was impressive was that Instacart actually took the time and reversed their policies. They reversed the policies because they probably didn't want to be looked at the bad guy, and you just can't win in that situation. Other competitors like Amazon and DoorDash did the exact same thing, but both of them admitted that they would not be changing anything. They would continue with the tip siphoning policy, which they said was fair. But according to Recode, the pressure is mounting on food delivery app DoorDash to change its controversial tipping policy. According to the article, for a moment, it seemed like the food delivery app DoorDash would get away largely unscathed over allegations that it was pocketing its workers' tips. By the way, I want to say I kind of agree with this. I don't know if I was one of the first people to report it, but I was reporting on this over a year ago that they were doing this. I had an email where they admitted they did this. And while there was outcry on my personal channel, I didn't see anyone else talking about it. But then, NBC News does a story on it, and now everybody knows. So, of course, the pressure was mounting. I don't care that NBC was the one to bring the attention to the forefront. I'm just glad somebody did. Now, with an official investigation and a tech worker boycott, there's a growing problem for the company over its tipping policies. Last month, DoorDash, along with other food and goods delivery services such as Instacart and Amazon Flex, were accused of using workers' tip money to subsidize base pay. The policies weren't new, but found fresh scorn after one case went viral in which an Instacart shopper was paid a $10 tip for an order, but only netted 80 cents in base pay from the company. Instacart ended up changing its policies to make sure tips don't subsidize base pay, and its CEO apologized to workers, which is what you should do. DoorDash and Amazon, meanwhile, stood firm by their current pay policies. While labor advocates were in an uproar over allegations of shady tipping policies, it hasn't stopped DoorDash from raising money. A few weeks ago, the company received another $400 million funding. Whatever. Instacart was publicly pressured into changing its policies, but from the outside, it may seem like the private financial market has rewarded, not punished, DoorDash for its pay practices, which the company denies are unfair. Here's how the model works. DoorDash shows its workers, whom the company refers to as Dashers, a guaranteed amount they will receive for delivering an order before they accept it. That guaranteed amount takes into account things like the size of the order, driving distance, traffic, and overall time spent. The controversy is around whether DoorDash is essentially subsidizing a substantial portion of the guaranteed amount it promises drivers per order through customers' tips rather than paying out of own pocket. Spoiler, they are. This becomes especially problematic according to critics when the drivers get a relatively large tip and that tip allegedly subsidizes all or most of the guaranteed minimum amount DoorDash is paying the worker. One thing that, they're actually going to address that. In 85% of cases, the company uses tip money in combination with its own payments to pay the guaranteed amount it quotes workers per order, according to numbers the company shared in a recent article in Fast Company. DoorDash guarantees it will contribute at least $1 per order, but beyond that, tip money can be used toward the total guaranteed amount. However, in 15% of cases, customers don't tip and DoorDash pays the full guaranteed minimum amount, according to numbers shared on the same article. By the way, it should be noted, DoorDash charges more than the $5 amount. They think they charge like $6 or $7. So it's being paid for one way or the other. The company maintains that overall its workers are happier with its current pay system. Clearly they don't watch my channel or read my comments. And one DoorDash worker, Josh Roberts, wrote a Medium post in favor of current pay policies. That is an article I will definitely be reading. DoorDash says internal data shows that 80% of workers actually prefer it to an older pay model phased out in 2017 that was, according to some drivers, more straightforward about tipping and had flat delivery pay regardless of size, distance, or complexity of the order. But they were also, here's the thing, it was flat and that was a problem. But here's the thing, DoorDash doesn't have to be subsidizing anything. They can charge what this is worth. The problem is that I think they're still charging not the passengers, this isn't Uber, the customers who buy the food a flat rate. And when they charge a flat rate, that means they might be paying the Dasher $12 for this order while the customer is paying $7. And as a result, they subsidize, the order with the tip. It shouldn't be that way. DoorDash should always be charging what the delivery is worth, and the tip should always be optional, and it should always 100% go to the driver. There's a simple solution to that. You don't have to have either or, but whatever. The company also shared that net pay to its drivers is about the same as it was under the old model, which begs the question, why would anyone prefer the new model under the old model if they're making the same amount of money? A spokesperson for DoorDash emailed the following statement. Since we implemented our pay model in 2017, Dasher satisfaction has increased while average delivery times have fallen. I'm tired of reading these things. We know what they let's get down to the real issue. This is all just breakdowns of how the payment works. I will link to that article below. Political challenges. Politicians are taking notice. The City of San Francisco's Office of Labor Standards Enforcement confirmed it is pursuing an investigation against DoorDash after City Supervisor Aaron Peskin filed a complaint. In an interview with Recode, Peskin called the company's tipping policy, quote, an outrageous business practice and one that he vows to challenge. If DoorDash is found guilty of violating San Francisco's labor laws, it could be ordered to pay restitution fines and forced to change its policies. It's the first time OLSE has launched an investigation into a tech-enabled gig economy company, according to the office's director, Patrick Mulligan. Investigations can take anywhere from a few months to several years. Currently, his office has given the notice to the company of the investigation and requested documents around its wage compensation. Separately, Peskin said he has also had conversations with the San Francisco City Attorney about potentially suing DoorDash. He told the San Francisco Examiner he's considering drafting legislation on the issue. Politicians in the state of Washington are also having conversations about protecting gig workers from reported wage theft, according to Sage Wilson, a spokesperson for the labor rights group Working Washington. This is what politicians are good for. I like it when politicians get involved when it's necessary. I don't like them being there unnecessarily, but I think with DoorDash, Uber, all these companies, it's good that the politicians are getting involved. The controversy over DoorDash's policy could limit its ability to recruit top tech talent, especially in a market where there's a shortage of software engineers and a surplus of tech companies ready to hire them. When software engineer Anna Goodcheck, I have no idea if I pronounced that right, received an email from a former Stanford classmate, DoorDash CTO and co-founder Andy Fang, trying to poach her to work for his company, she gave an explicit reason for turning him down: her disapproval of the company's labor practices. Quote, classmates don't let classmates get away with wage theft, she tweeted with a screenshot of the exchange that was shared widely on the social media platform. She currently works at DoorDash, was inspired to start a pledge for current and future tech workers, including computer science students at Stanford and UC Berkeley, not to work at DoorDash until they change their tipping policies and improved pay practices. For a company like DoorDash, which competes with other startups for engineers like her and her peers, there could be a reputational risk for being known as a company that's accused of dipping into workers' tip jars. And you know what? That's fair, because most of these people get their start at like Starbucks or Denny's, something that actually, requires tipping to make a wage. So for them to work for a company that would essentially take the tips out of the tip jar, knowing that they were once at a point where they themselves depended on those tips, that's not a very appealing prospect for a lot of Silicon Valley engineers. So, why is DoorDash special when you could work for Postmates or a bunch of other companies, she asked. Well, I have to say, from personal experience, for a while, you made a lot more money with DoorDash. That's for certain. But at the moment, yeah. So, anyway, this goes on, and they continue to defend the paid model, yada, yada, yada. I don't think we need to get into all of this. I'll link to the article below, as I always do. But yeah, I think DoorDash is heading for a day of reckoning. So is Amazon Flex. Amazon might be the last one, though, because they're the biggest. They've got the most money. They can clearly afford to wait this out. But DoorDash, in its pursuit of engineers, of funding, and of public acceptance, they can't be letting this situation get out of control. Frankly, when the Instacart CEO apologize and reverse course, I'm a little amazed they didn't do it too. They should have known where this was going and what they could do to make themselves look proactive. Instead, it looks like they're fighting. Even if they actually reverse at this point, and it would be good ultimately, I think their reputation is damaged. But is it damaged enough that it wouldn't help them in the long run? It probably is not. But if this goes on a whole lot longer, DoorDash could eventually be known as that company that does the same thing as these other companies, but doesn't pay their workers their tips. That is not a reputation you want to have. But of course, I pass the question on to you. What says all of you? Do you agree with DoorDash? Do you agree with the, Dashers? I would love to know. So you know the drill. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. As always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.